All right, guys, we're back out here today for the start of the part 3 on this smoker. It's the day after July 4th, so shaking off a little hangover here this morning, but nothing we can't get through. We got a little storm coming in, so I'm hoping we can be out here for a little bit without an absolute downpour. So either we'll call it when the rain gets heavy, or it'll miss us, and we'll go for as long as we can before I get summons in the house to do some daddy duties. But yep, we're gonna work today on just getting those bung holes cut out and at least tacked into place. Get the flat bar bent to the shape of the tank, so that way the patches look good. You don't have a flat piece of metal patching a curved hole. So without further ado, let's get into it and get started. All right, guys. Well, of course, just my luck, I left that oxygen tank in there without the regulator on it. Left it cracked open ever so slightly. So didn't figure that out until today, when of course now the tank is completely empty. I have a bunch of acetylene and no oxygen. So we're gonna try to make do with what we have. If this doesn't work like I think it's going to, then we will just scratch working on this thing altogether. You'll probably never see this video anyways, and I'll start it back whenever I have the oxygen acetylene situation figured out, and we'll go from there. But in the off chance that this does work, here is what the plan is today. I just hit this metal. I'll bring it in closer here in a minute. I just took my grinder, made a couple bare metal dots on either side of where this flat bar is going to sit. So I'm going to set it here. I'm going to tack it, and you can see how it's coming off that curve. I'm going to tack it here, and then I'm going to bend it. And when I bend it, tack it there, bend it, tack it there. Same thing. I'm going to bend it this way, tack it, and tack it. Hopefully let it sit there for a little bit till it cools, and it'll have that radius stuck in that portion of the metal, and be able to cut it out and put it inside of our holes here, weld it up, or flap disc it down, and you'll never know the difference that there is a patch there. Hopefully that's the plan. If it goes that way, who knows, but we're going to give it a shot while we're out here sweating to death. So yeah, nothing to it but to do it. So let's do it. Here we go. Got the thing welded down to the curve of the tank. Gonna let it cool almost all the way. So if it takes a little while, that's fine. We want it to cool, and then it'll have, hopefully, you can see that radius that's in it there. Hopefully it'll patch those up and it'll look real good. So that's what we're going for. We don't want a flat patch inside of a curved tank. So obviously from like here down won't be usable. I mean, it will, just not the way we have it sitting right now. Just due to it straightening out right there, it won't completely be bent here. But those are both 3x3 squares. Of course, that one's not cut perfect, but oh well. We'll make it look perfect whenever we're done with it. But so 3-inch, those two pieces will have that good radius as long as we let it cool on us nice and slow. Don't rush it, let it do its thing, and it'll hold that shape. You can hear it popping right now. it was popping these tacks like crazy. So had to use it. And see, there it goes. It just popped one there, but that's why we're letting it come down on its own. Let's see. Yeah, it just popped that weld right there. You can see that little crack on it right in there. But as long as it's those last two, that'll be fine. 3/16 inch bar. So it's got a little rigidity to it, but we definitely had to hit it with more tacks than I thought we were going to have to, but nonetheless, it's on there. Then we'll come back, cut it off of there, get the tacks off the tank, get the tacks off the bar, tack them into place over here. And then I think once I flatten those out with that flap disc, I'm just going to leave it, let it rust, and that'll be part of the patina once it gets all burnt out and painted up. But you can see the door is starting to rust up on us a little bit. And I went and put this bar in there because I wasn't happy with those bolts. Love the hinges. The bolts just didn't fit snug. It would move on you. Those have a tiny bit of play in it. They're not completely tight. They have a tiny bit of play. I haven't figured out whether I'm going to tear in there and make it 100% snug, or if I'm just going to leave that little play that's in there. Again, the tank's twisted, so that's why that handle's as low as it is right now. But I'll come back, and if I'm just going to leave it like it is, I'll cut those off there, tack them on the end, tack them on the end. Same thing, cut it off, tack it on the end, and then I can probably use that bar for my my damper handle later on down the road. But yeah, let's let this thing cool off, and we'll cut it off there. Those patches are in. That one I cut a little wide. I can fill it in with just a fat weld, grind it smooth. You'll never know that it was cut wider than it should have been. But let's see if I can bring you all around this side. And the radius isn't exact, but it's also not flat. You can see how it kind of contours to the shape of that tank a little bit there. Sorry, my hand's shaking, but it's in there. So get them, weld them up right now, and we're gonna let them cool before we flap disc them. But we'll get them all welded up nice and tight, so no smoke gets through there. Once we flap disc them, I'm sure we'll see a couple more holes, like little pinholes here and there, and we'll weld them again and flap it down again if we need to. But the big ones are in, and let's get them welded in place. Well, I didn't hit record on my time lapse there, but we got them all welded up, and we flap disced them after, I'd say, about an hour. And you can see those pinholes I was talking about. I don't think those go all the way through to the inside of the tank. It's just where that weld had a little ripple in it, and that flap disc can't get down in there. So I'll come back, and I'm gonna just run me another couple weld or a bead down there just to cover those up, smooth them out. And then I'm gonna run me another bead right down here and on this side, just to fill in from where the tank's at and that new weld's at. Keep it all nice and smooth once that flap disc gets done. It's having a hard time blending where all that pitting's at, but once it takes that surface rust to it, I think it'll blend in just fine. This is where that bigger, fatter gap was at. I got way down in there, good penetration on it, but when I flap disc, it knocked a bunch of that weld out of there. So come back, hit that one again, and flap disc it back down smooth. But we're getting her knocked out today, and one step at a time. little crazy right now because the grind mark's going every which way on them, but they are on there. They are sealed. Obviously, we'll find more probably when we burn that fire in it in a couple weeks, a couple days, whatever. But they're done. That's what we were going for, that nice sleek look. It's trying to focus on the, see, there you go. Just nice, clean look there. With how smooth they look, and they're going to look even better once I get that one bung hole out of the way and I can flap that edge. But with as good as those two look, I'm definitely going to take these two out. I still got some of my flat bar here that has that radius in it, so I can plug those things up, no problem. But that'll do it for today. Go in here and take a shower and relax before it's time to get up in the morning, go to work. This part 3, I think I'm going to do just those bung holes and one inside lip. See if I can get it here without busting this window out back here. I want to do one inside lip right here, just as an extra precaution. Keep more smoke in. I'm not going to do an inside lip on the sides because I'm doing a top pull-out shelf, and that'll get in the way. I don't feel like making the slots for it, all that stuff. I don't think I need it. And I'm not going to do one on the bottom as of right now, only because I'm going to do flat grates that don't pull out, and they're going to be flush. So you can see where that would get in the way with that. If I decide to do pull-outs on the bottom, I'll probably put a lip, a little tiny lip right here, just in front of where the track's going to be. But I don't think you'll need it because the grates will be there. So I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling right now, but for sure the top one and plugging those holes on this part 3. So here it is. And we'll come back in a day or two and knock out the rest of them. All right, got the bung holes all welded in, flap this down, smooth, good to go. We're about to get this thing stood back upright. See if we can't cut that bar off out between those hinges, weld them on the outside hinge pieces, and run our flat bar on the top on the inside. Another little door seam on the inside. And probably be it for today. Maybe throw some good welds down those door trims a little bit, just to make it look a little better than it is. Got the hinges fully welded on, the two back ones on each side and the front ones all the way around, and then got that bar poked through there. and a weld on each one of them. Again, not a professional welder. That one is a little ugly there. We'll clean it up, but go back over them again with the welder just to hit some of the low spots, and then flap disc them, make them look all nice and pretty. But the hinges are permanently on there. I was running the bead down this side here, and I ran out of wire, so not going to change it today. It'll be something I do tomorrow morning before I head off to work, but we're coming along. So you can see those bung holes now that it's sitting up straight. And then that surface rust will come in there and hit that too, to add to that patina whenever we flap disc it down. These will all be knocked down probably tomorrow when I come back out. All right, see y'all tomorrow. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the next morning. Just got out here and put some fresh wire in the welder. I noticed a boo-boo from last night where I ran this bead down the side of this door right before the welder ran out of wire on me. When it cooled, it pulled this lip up just a little bit on the bottom corner. So we're going to try to remedy that by getting some ratchet straps out of the truck, run it down the outside of this flat bar on the door trim, and get it real tight, pull it in there, and finish running that bead. And hopefully just that little bit of heat will make that metal pliable enough for that ratchet strap to pull it in tight. Once we get it hot from that weld, we'll give that strap a couple more cranks, see if it'll pull it in there nice and snug. If it doesn't, we can always get the little pressure lock latches that go on here. I was trying not to have to do that, but if the strap doesn't work, then we'll put them on there and make them look good, put them on the side or something. We'll figure it out. But we got a good couple hours this morning to get out here and work on this thing, so let me go get these straps and we will start knocking it out. All right, guys, that's got us wrapped up for part 3 here. We got the outsides completely done, with the exception, obviously, of the firebox and the collector and stack. But as far as the smoking chamber goes, it is 100% done, with the exception of the thermometers that we are going to put on there, or the gauges, whatever you want to call them. Got the door 100% welded all the way around. I just hit it with a flap disc real quick just to kind of knock down some of the splatter. The handles all the way around, hinges all the way around. I prettied up the welds on the little end pieces on the bars there. That door is piping hot right now with all the welding all the way around, the flap disc, all that stuff. So I'm going to leave those straps on there at least today and tonight, and I'll come back tomorrow morning and start on part 4. Getting the part 4 is going to consist of all inside the cook chamber, getting the racks built on the bottom, flush mount left to right, and then the pull out on the top. I don't know if on the top I'm going to do all the way on the edge or all the way to the ends, or if I'm just going to make the pull out just that section of the door and then do the bottom all one level. It looks like there's going to be a big gap right here to lean in there and get everything done. But that door is so big and it's so deep, I don't see it being a problem. And that door also opens up pretty big. So I don't see it being a problem getting over there on this side or that side. But this side is going to be hot anyways for that firebox. I'm going to put a damper to try to control a little bit of it. But I believe it'll be very easy to get in and out of this smoker and do what we need to do. There's how the hinges are looking. Like I said, they're all the way welded up. Those bung holes are welded up and flap disc down. I'm waiting for the that surface rust to come in and eat that up a little bit. Not eat it up, but put some color to it so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. I flap disc where we had that metal tacked on to bend it, and I'm just gonna leave all this stuff. Once I burn that fire in it, and I knock down a lot of this like loose flaky paint, and then there's some weird silver tape on the front of that door. Once I get all that stuff burned out and then scrape that stuff off, I'm just gonna leave all these dings and dents in the paint, get it all nice and smooth with a fine grit sandpaper, get it super smooth all the way around, and then clear coat the hell out of it. So like I said, that's part 3, and part 4 will start tomorrow, and it'll be all inside, getting that cook chamber ready to go. Again, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm just a nobody out here doing a smoker, and to see 700 of y'all are interested in it, that's freaking awesome. I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned for part 4.